Well, hello, and thank you for joining us again for Stories of Great Christians. We're now in chapter 18, looking at the life of Dwight Lyman Moody. Now, when he started out, who knew what he'd become? First, he wanted to become a rich, ambitious shoe salesman once he left his mom's home. But after a few decades, God turned him around and used him to win many, many souls, both in Chicago and in New York and overseas, in Great Britain and in England, and even in Scotland and other places like that. The Irish. Dwight L. Moody, One Man for God. Well, while we're waiting, here we go, chapter 18. Let's get to it.
Stories of Great Christians. We are bringing you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, Chapter 18, in the story, Layman from God, a portrait of D.L. Moody.
What do you think of the cattle, D.L.?
Well, Sam, I'm not the cattle expert you are, but it seems to me that young bull we looked at has got some good blood in him.
Yep.
Them heifers, too. Fine stuff. Are you going to buy them?
The price is $1 or two too high. Let the man fidget a while. Then he'll come down to my price.
Why are you turning down this street?
Why, we're going to visit the Sykes family. Horace and his two daughters, Jenny and Julia. Sykes is paralyzed, so to try to get along, the girls braid straw hats. Come on, I want you to meet them.
We tend to think that our spirit is in our body. That's actually not correct. Your body is in your spirit. People always tell me...
I sure don't like commercials, do you? It seems to be a lot of commercials on that, so here we go.
Look at these books. Pilgrim Progress, Thomas à Kempis, the Greek New Testament.
Daddy reads aloud to us from the Greek, Mr. Moody. He wants us to be educated.
Sykes, how do you get along?
Oh, we get along. We don't have roast turkey or plum pudding, but we get along.
We take things as they come, right from God's hand.
How will the girls get an education, Sykes?
They go to the country school and learn what I teach them. I'm a former college teacher. But I haven't got the means to send them 14 miles to high school.
We don't have much, sir, but we have a real family.
Sam Moody gave his brother an object lesson that day that D.L. never forgot. He shared with his older brother his own ideas to help educate children from families with meager resources. Sam had fragile health, and this youngest brother was held in deep affection by D.L. Sam went home to be with the Lord in 1876.
Sam's death prompted me to carry on his ideas and incorporate them with mine. I had the feeling there was great resource in the minds of many of our country's poor children. The problem was to find ways to get them to school so they could develop their talents. Other girls in the New England hills, like the Sykes girls, would be confined to a dull and limited life by their circumstances unless somebody could help them to get a proper education. Now the education must also be Christian. These young people must be led to Jesus Christ as part of their teaching. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and the Bible.
D.L. had made the friendship of Henry F. Durant, a prominent Boston lawyer, and together they had visited Mary Lyons Mount Holyoke Seminary for Girls.
Moody, what are your thoughts about Mount Holyoke Seminary?
Great place, Grant. I know you're interested in starting a school, and I am too.
Yes, I am. I'm going to open my wealthy estate to educate girls of moderate means. Christ will be predominant at the school.
Well, what I had in mind was a school for girls of little or no means. Bright youngsters who should get a chance.
How'd you like Mary Lyons' rules that every girl does her share of manual labor in the school?
Good idea. I was much impressed by that. I want calico girls, not velvet girls in the school. Young women who know how to do household chores will be more useful citizens. Dirty fingernails never hurt anyone.
Well, what are your plans, Moody?
To get some property bought, and start building.
Mr. Moody purchased the land for the Northfield Seminary for Girls on an impulsive reaction, just as he did most other things. He and his friend, H.N.F. Marshall of Boston, were standing on the road in front of Moody's home when the owner of 16 acres of adjoining land passed by the two men.
Hello, George. Give my regards to the missus.
Hello, Moody. Nice day, isn't it? Say hello to Emma.
Who's that, Moody?
Oh, he's the fellow that owns the 16 acres we're looking at.
Well, stop him!
Oh, George! Come back!
Whoa.
He's coming back. What do you want him for?
To find out how much he wants for that property. If the price is right, we'll buy it.
Before the owner of the 16 acres knew what happened, he was minus his property and carried a check for $2,500 in his pocket. The property included a rundown house, a shed, a pond, and Parson Doolittle's grave. Moody was off to Chicago and Baltimore. Marshall, in the meantime, was quietly buying up other small parcels of property until he formed an estate of 100 acres. It was barren, sandy, and hilly land, which was not suitable to farming, but it certainly could be used by God's servants to educate Christian young women. The large hill would in later years grow trees and grass and become known the world over as Round Top. Moody could not wait for the construction of new buildings to open the school. He had his own home altar to provide for the first students, among them Jenny and Julie Sykes. The first classes opened in November 1879 in the Moody dining room. That spring, the cornerstone laying for the recitation hall was held. A silver trowel was made available for the moment, but Mr. Moody had his own trowel.
Friends, neighbors, I've chosen my father's trowel instead of the silver one so generously offered. You see, my father was a humble and hard-working man of limited means. He was a stonemason and a builder. This is a working trowel, and by God's grace, this will be a working school, turning out fine Christian young women to the glory of God. Durant, you wanted to say a few words?
Ladies and gentlemen, Northfield Seminary for Girls will be a thorough school. It will be non-sectarian, and it will be Christian. Working together, the Christian home, the church, and the Christian school will turn out young women greatly needed to do the Lord's work.
They placed in the cornerstone a Bible, national and local newspapers, 2 histories of Northfield, some Moody heirlooms, and a piece of Parson Doolittle's gravestone. In 1880, the recitation hall had been completed, and the first dormitory, East Hall, was rising out of the ground. Mr. Moody not only was the prime mover behind the school, he was also the prime fun-loving counselor and father advisor to the girls, which now numbered 100. When in town, he would join in the physical sports such as foot racing.
I'm catching you, Jenny!
No, you won't. I got more breath than you.
You better run faster!
And you better run faster, Mr. Moody.
Oh, there's the finish line!
I win, Mr. Moody.
How he loved young people. He loved to watch them grow in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. In 1899, the 20th anniversary of the seminary was celebrated. The enrollment was then almost 400 girls. The staff and teachers numbered 39. The school property increased to 500 acres, including a farm. Many girls had come over the years to get an education, but they left the school consecrated, unselfish Christians who had found happiness and joy in serving Jesus.
I got a hit!
Young men always had a soft spot in Moody's heart, as indicated by his work in the YMCA. But he really hadn't planned to start a school for boys, at least not yet, although it would follow naturally. Wealthy clock manufacturer Hiram Camp was attracted to Christian programs through Mr. Moody's New Haven campaign of 1878. Camp was a jolly man who had a great zest for life and wanted to give some of his money where it would do the most good. He came to Northfield to consult with his friend Moody. They talked in the library.
Moody, what should I do with the money I want to give away?
What's your denomination?
Congregational.
Oh, they have organizations that could use financial help. Give it to them.
No, I would like to give it to something specific. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, here's something to chew on. I've been hounded to take boys into the school I've started, but I don't want to add to my troubles by going coeducational. Now, you start a school for boys along the lines I've started a school for girls. There's something specific. Start it and then stand back and watch it grow.
Moody, I'm too old for that. I've lost touch with youth. But I'll tell you what I'll do. If you start a school for boys, I'll give you $25,000 for that purpose.
What?
That's the way the Mount Hermon School for Boys began. Mr. Moody said, wait a little longer. And God said, now. It was now. The property was acquired, and in the spring of 1881, a house mother was hired, and lessons began officially on May 1st. 13 boys and their teachers were on hand that first day, and so was Mr. Moody.
I went to Mount Hermon as a boy without any particular aim in life or any serious religious convictions. There I came upon a species of Christianity that was completely new to me. Of the men I know today who are doubters and without Christ, I would say they never were rightly instructed in the things of the Spirit. Mount Hermon was the gateway to heaven for me, and never did I let go its grip until I was able to stand on my own feet and defend my faith.
The most powerful way to attract wealth isn't through thought, meditation, or even the law of attraction. It's through activating a specific...
Boys and girls of both schools were Moody's sons and daughters to him. 800 students received Bible training twice a week, as well as the finest in general education. Their cost was minimal. The school carried the major financial burden through the giving of Christian friends. Those admitted had to work on the farm or do household chores, and they had to maintain good grades. None were ever turned away because they couldn't afford to come. So these were the Northfield schools. 2 schools established, and 1 to start. The Bible Institute would be a more difficult birth, but somehow Mr. Moody knew that God would take care of that. One wonders if there's another place in the world quite as cold as Chicago's Clark Street Bridge, as the wind whistles down the Chicago River and bites at your body. The year is 1873. 2 sole pedestrians wend their way toward the North Side Tabernacle. A man is hurriedly stepping up his pace to overtake the lady walking in front of him.
Emma Dwyer!
Oh, Mr. Moody!
Wait for me and we'll walk together.
Of course!
I want to talk to you about staying in Chicago to carry on the Bible Institute work.
Oh, well, and what will you be doing that you need me?
I'll be in England for 8 or 10 months. I need an organizer with your talent to carry on while I'm gone. I definitely want to get an institute going as quickly as possible.
And so we conclude Chapter 18 of the story, Layman from God, a portrait of D.L. Moody. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, produced by the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
Continuing work of Dwight Lyman Moody, or Lyman, but who really should have been named Layman, because that's how God used him, exactly like that. And here, even though he's starting the school for boys and girls, this is how the Moody Bible Institute started, and YMCA, and the many great things that Dwight did. Well, till next time. Lord keeping me around, Lord keeping you around, Lord tarrying, and Lord willing, I'll see you then. Take care. Have a good day. God bless.